If you knew when you started what you know now, would you have bothered to have gone into the industry?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I absolutely love my life. I mean, there's been a few sort of things along the way which have been quite hard. And you test yourselves, you put yourselves in risk situations where you might fall, and then that could be the end of your career. You have to succeed. You have to do. The pressure is always there, and but I thrive on the pressure anyway. So it kind of makes you feel alive, and it's delivered me a lifestyle that I really am starting to really enjoy more freedom with. As I say, I don't have to work late nights, and I have a nice time at the beginning of the year before it starts to crank up a little bit. So I get to travel a bit, and yeah, I would definitely not change a thing.
I'm laughing because when I'm thinking correctly and straight,
Yeah.
I would say 100% yes. Music is worth pursuing, and if you don't do it, you'll go crazy. If you've got that desire in you to discover new sounds, to create new music, to see what's around the corner, what's possible,
Yeah.
I think you'll just die inside if you try and kill that.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when work's not going so well, I sometimes think, why did I choose this? This is not going very well. I should have just become well, I couldn't be a doctor anyway. I haven't got the brains for it, but something more conventional, for sure.
I think a rational person would probably say no, but I think that comes back to the point about wanting and needing to do something and loving doing something. So yeah, the rational answer would be go and do something where you can make your family life more comfortable or whatever. But no, I would. I mean, we've been lucky. We've been very lucky that in the last 3 or 4 years we've found an audience, or an audience has found us one way or the other, and we've been able to kind of make the band work for us and for that audience. So yeah, I'd like to think if I went back and had my life over again, I'd stick at it. But never. Maybe I'd been in a punk band because my brother had bought the wrong album. Maybe it would have been a different thing. Yeah. And that the irony is that there's more life in prog rock than there is in punk rock, isn't there? And punk rock was supposed to have changed the world and got rid of the old dinosaurs. But here we are.
There's some things that I would go, oh, I wish I had done that. But in general, yeah, I mean, when you're growing up, it's far better now in terms of being given an insight in regards to what the industry is and what it is to be a musician. Unfortunately, at schools, there's a big mismatch between school and the real world in music, because there seems to be, you can be in an orchestra, you can be this, you can be that. How do you become, Angus Young or something? I don't know, so you kind of learn all that stuff yourself by just reading the magazines. So, but the road that I went down, I'm glad that I've had to learn along the way, because it's made me resilient. It's made me think outside the box in regards to going what I want to do, and made me incredibly grateful. Because I'm not from a music background. I've had to work really hard to get to a decent level. Some people have just look, they're 12 and they're amazing. That wasn't me. I was passionate and crazy, but I wasn't like, oh look, Marcel's going to be a musician. Not at all. So yeah.
It's a strange thing, isn't it? 'Cause it's like looking back at something from the opposite end, through the opposite end of a telescope, having had the experience. The telescope I forgot to pick up. Yes, I would probably have done. I'm a musician, Steve, and that's what I do. And I would have done music in one way or another, or music-related thing in one way or another, because that's what I do. Yeah, that's me. And if I didn't do music, I would be thoroughly miserable. It's how I see my world. It's how I process the world. It's how I relate to others as well. That's it.
Yeah, as a musician, I think I've definitely thought at times, why aren't I just doing a 9 to 5? This is so complicated. And I think as you get older, maybe you start to have those thoughts more. Mm-hmm. I had them a lot recently, which has been quite tough to navigate. And Yeah, you're working all night on a track, tweaking some detail that most people probably won't even notice. And often, I think this needs to be talked about more, because in interviews, when I read interviews with musicians, they're normally already successful. But a lot of us have to confront the fact that we'll spend ages and ages and ages on a piece of work, put it out there. And so you spend 3 years on an album and it gets 2 days of tweaks, and that's it, at the most sometimes. And it's like, what? And learning how to think through that and still pursue what you know you have to do, because you'll go crazy if you don't do what you're supposed to do in music. Knowing that is, or experiencing that is tough sometimes. And I wish it was talked about more. It's not really discussed much. At least I haven't come across it being discussed much.
Oh, completely. The drums, I didn't look at drumming and think, you know what, that is a smart financial move. I want to make millions, I never crossed my mind at all. I love to play music, and although I pride myself in a kind of obsessive way, thinking that I'm going to make a really good living out of it and achieve this and that, what drew me to it was sitting down making music with other people and the enjoyment that gave me. It was so that would never change. Music, it's a tough industry, It's I know a lot of people that struggle with it, so you can't let that put you off. I did it because it's what spoke to me. If I wanted to make money and solely make money, I would have definitely done something else. I'm not saying that I don't do quite fine, thank you very much, but it's not. I'm not motivated by money. I'm motivated by doing something that makes me happy, and so that's why. So absolutely, in a heartbeat, I've done exactly the same thing again. It made me very happy.
Oh God, yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Would I have bothered? I felt like I had no choice. There was absolutely no choice about it. I was going to be a musician, whatever. So actually, I forgot to add that to my list of qualities. It's like that sense of this is what I'm doing, and I am a musician. It's like you need that total identification to get through such actually very hard stuff, and hours of practice, and being alone in your practice room and working at stuff for hours and getting it wrong, failing so many times, That's really an important part of the process. It's just like working with your mistakes until it finally happens. Yeah.
I probably make more money because I know exactly how to make it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't I don't regret the experiences I've had doing music. It's all been a really good learning experience. It's made me what I am now. Do you know what I mean? Because it's just a learning thing. You do things, you make mistakes.
Yeah.
You just learn from them, and that's how you become who you are. You learn. It's this experience.
Yeah. I do. No, it's an easy one. Yeah, I think because again, it affords you just the freedom and variety that it means that you never know what's happening from time to time, and if stuff does happen, it's usually exciting and interesting. It's been an interesting working life for me. There's never really been a time when I thought, oh, I wish I wasn't doing this. Very occasionally, mostly to do with television commissions. You get into a situation where you realise it's Groundhog Day and this person is asking me to tweak this for the 37th time, doesn't know what they're talking about. But that's rare. Even that process I kind of enjoy, and it's fun. I'm a music guy through and through. I think I would say to people, if you love something and you can end up working in that industry you love, you've won in life. Whether you're rich or poor, you've won at that point.
Any regrets? This is a tough question, isn't it? It's like, I'm going to say no, but there probably is. I'm trying to remember times when you might have to give me a bit of time on this one. Any regrets?
This always stops people short.
I don't know. God.
What did Matt say? No.
No, that's dull. No. I've had a great time and I'm having a great time. That's really boring to say. I'm sure I could have played better sometimes, and but the mistakes I've made have informed me going forward. You have to make mistakes to learn and get better. So I've got any regrets. I'm just a happy guy. That's really boring.
You don't have to have regrets.
No regrets at all at the moment.
Good.
Ask me in a couple of years.
I have to fight regret. I don't think it's a really useful taskmaster or even influence. So I do fight that. I suppose a regret would be not going at this more. Actually, the regret alternates. So on a bad day, the regret is having done it at all, having pursued music at all.
Yeah.
But then I think I couldn't have done anything else. This world of sound and music is too fascinating.
It's in your blood.
Yeah, absolutely. It's too incredible. It's like every day in the studio is a gift. It's like there's this vast outpouring of ideas that have to be realised, and you have to realise them to the best of your ability. Yeah. And that's a wonderful taskmaster. It's like something that's always with you, an influence that won't stop, like an endless volcano. It's just amazing. So I suppose a regret would be not going at it with more dedication. Not so much the making music side, because I've done a lot of that every day, but more bothering to show people, telling people I do this, like contacting people.
Oh God, yeah.
Do you want to tell us something? No. Good, that's a good answer.
No, life is full of choices, and you sometimes have to go with what you have to go with. I know people say you have a choice. Sometimes you do, and maybe less so in other occasions. But no, I do think there are things that I wish I'd done differently, and there are things close to me that I'd really wished were very different. But yeah, so I do regret. There are things that I do regret, deeply regret. But I did the best I could with what I had at the time, in terms of how I was emotionally. I tried to do the best with what was there in front of me, what I physically could alter. But I also have to remember as well that I'm only one part, only one cog in the machine. I'm not responsible for it all. So yeah, lots of regrets, but that's life.
Well, other than personal things, which I wouldn't even begin to tell you about, Steve, not really, no. No, there have been little sad, poignant things. My brother was a huge David Bowie fan, such that he turned me on to the music initially when we were young, and he was 1 year younger than me, and he would be down at the record shop on the day of release of the albums, and he died in a motorbike crash 6 years before I got to work with Bowie. And so it's a massive thing to think, I wish, and he supported me as a musician, and he used to come to my gigs, and he was really into the fact that I was doing that. Even though I don't think he knew I'd have any success with it or anything, but I'd love to have seen him, and introduced him to his idol. I would have loved to have done that, but yeah, God, yeah. Anyway, such is life.
There have been times along the way where I have had to act in a way which has been hard-nosed, I think. Not big-nosed, hard-nosed. And I think, sometimes, one has to make decisions that are quite, are not always in other people's interests. And so I do, there are times when I maybe haven't been, maybe I could have done things differently, or maybe things could have turned out a different way. But that's just part of the journey, and unfortunately you're not going to, be in a band for 20 odd years without having some issues and problems, externally and internally. And, I can only say the band I'm in now is I love them. They're great guys and girls, and we are on the same wavelength, and we have a blast. It's great.
No, maybe dealing with bad situations, I could have dealt with them better. And that's all just a learning experience,
And getting more mature.
Yeah, and getting more. That's the key word. Getting more mature. Do you know what I mean? When you're younger, you just don't care. You know what I mean? And you might do things or say things that you would never do now because you just know it's just not the right thing to do. So not that I've done loads of stuff like that, but I have done a few things like that, or been in situations or arguments in the music, you know, with band members and stuff that I wouldn't have had because I would have just known how to deal with it better. And even though I had more experience than a lot of more people, you still make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? And you still deal with things wrong. And I think if I was to change anything, it would be just to change them things, because I don't like falling out with people, do you know what I mean? And I don't like having bad energy with people. So, and that stuff plays on me for a long time. Like, it never leaves, do you know what I mean? So yeah. I always like to have a good energy around me.
You don't have to have any.
No, I don't have any regrets. I think I've had a really good musical life, and I'm really grateful to all the people that made that possible. Some of the really important people to me were this musician, Joe, who told me to write music. That was incredibly important. The guy who told me to come to England, Roy Rimmer, he advised me to come and study here. That was really crucial. Peter Gabriel, who ran the Real World Recording Week, which was eye-opening and incredible experience for me, aged 24, 23. Just amazing. Mark Knopfler was a huge influence on me. Wayne Shorter, my teacher Yossi Zavoni, certain composers like Bela Bartok, big influence on me. My husband, big influence on me. He's a huge ethnic percussionist, and he's drawn me into that world massively, even more than I was from the jazz side. Yeah, and I've got support from a lot of people. So I got support from Serious Music in London. They've been brilliant, really supported my career in its various stages. And the Arts Council of Britain, who enabled me to create a record company and fund the first 3 albums, which was great. And we learnt the art of creating an album for very little money.
Right, yeah.
And producing, I learnt a huge amount about producing by doing that. We made about 12 albums in total.
The only regrets really is, and you know, they're not to be dismissed, is when I am at that sharp end, when I am working ridiculous hours, and it does take me away from Yvonne, or in the past it's taken me away from my children, my ex-wife at the time. You know, I remember they went, years ago, they went to Disneyland Paris in November, and I so wanted to go, but I just couldn't go. I just knew that if I went, it would be game over for all of my deadlines, and I have to put my work before my family, and that, you know, that's the biggest regret.
If you are lucky enough to get up every day and never go, oh, got to go to work, and which is pretty much what I do, and I spend a lot of time laughing and a lot of time with people I absolutely like being around, then you've just got to thank your lucky stars. So I don't have any regrets whatsoever. In fact, I feel blessed.
Any superpower, what would it be? Oh God, that's a terrible question. Oh God, I've got no idea.
I'd love to fly.
That's a great one.
I want to be able to drink coffee all day long and it not affect me in other than keep me kind of pleasantly high and me never peak the other side, and be able to sleep afterwards as well. I drink so much coffee, it's the first thing that enters my mouth. That's a really odd that's the first thing that came to my mind. But I drink so much coffee, I think it probably makes me a bit hyper, and it means I do that all day. Right. But I love being energetic, and I think that's probably my natural state anyway, and coffee just kind of it fuels that. So yeah. I want to have the superpower, be able to drink coffee all the time and be able to sleep. There you go.
I'm not going to say X-ray vision, because that's just too pervy, isn't it? I mean everybody wants X-ray vision, really. They just don't admit to it. I mean, if anyone says they don't want X-ray vision, then just say, you know, you're lying.
I'd like to have an eyeball on the end of my finger, so that I could look around corners.
Mine would be foresight, maybe, to know, maybe in a year's time, where will I be? Yeah, I don't know, maybe that, you know.
Oh, this sounds like I'm just saying it because we're talking about music. No. But I'd love to be able to... So when you're falling asleep sometimes you get the maddest musical ideas, like the craziest intersections of sound and texture. I'd love a superpower where someone could plug in some probes into my brain and translate all of that exactly as it sounds in my head. Visuals and music as well.
I'd quite like to be able to walk on water, actually. I mean, no, you know, no connotation with anybody who could do that in history or anything, but I just quite like to be able to do that because I walk a lot in my hometown and I hit the sea and I think, oh, I'd really like to take a walk around that that cliff, so that would be good.
But that's an easy one for me. I would want to time travel, and I'd do a lot of it as well. I'd probably get killed at Hastings or something, but you know, a cowardly time traveller. But yeah, that would be great fun.
Maybe incredible strength. I'm not quite sure what I'd do with it. I'll tell you what, to hell with it. X-ray vision.
Hey,
we're there.
Exactly.
The ability to, I don't know, make money out of music. That'd be a good one.
Rewind time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So rewind, go back in history or actually rewind?
Yeah, because like when you was at school, you could, if you knew what you could get away with when you was at school, you'd do so much better. So I would rewind time because I could relive. I mean, I'm still having good moments, but I'd relive some of the other moments, and maybe then I could do things that I missed out on better as well. Like, do you know what I mean? So that would be a good superpower, I suppose. Or would it be to know lottery numbers? I don't know.
That would also it would take away a lot of issues, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
You're just suddenly rich.
But then I don't know, money don't always bring you happiness, does it?
No.
In matter of fact, the more money you make, the more bloody problems you got.
My favourite swear word.
Bearing in mind your mum's in the other room.
Absolutely. I don't know, I try not to swear, but I don't mind if other people do at all.
Bollocks is quite good. Yeah, bollocks cuts across. Yeah, that's probably it. Yeah.
You can spit it out, can't you? It's,
yeah, it just says it all. That's bollocks.
Oh, box. Never mind the box.
Oh, of course.
Oh, I tried to say this on camera.
I mean, I'm probably going to beep it, but you know.
F.
Yeah. And would you use it that often?
Yes.
I think it's because when I swear, it's usually at the computer or when things aren't working in music. And it always comes from a really, really angry place. so some people swear word as a comma or something, and, or a kind of a salt seasoning on the food, and they'd probably do it much better than I could manage that.
Oh, f*** off.
Shit. Oh, shit. Yeah, I don't really, depends who I'm in front of or who I'm around, I don't really swear that much.
Yeah.
Saying that, but when you're on tour you do.
When someone's completely pissed, that's not the one, but when they're completely pissed or when they say they're going to go out and get completely pissed, and then they say, well, I'm going to go out and get completely wankered. I kind of like the word wankered, but I don't know why, it just makes me laugh.
Well, I do like the word cunt. I think it's sometimes it's the only thing you can call someone. It's the correct Anglo-Saxon nomenclature for a person in a certain circumstance. You are a cunt, and it can be. We quite often use it affectionately, but that's a good. I think that's a good word, and I understand how some women have a problem with that word. But you know, I call people a prick as well. So it isn't the fact that there's a female connotation to it at all. But the word cunt is a good word.
Oh man, well I say fuck a lot. There's something about fuck, but it's got to be cunt. It's got to be cunt, isn't it? If you can swear, you can spit cunt out. It's just, and it's that also that added kind of puissance of it being the one that you're not supposed to say. So cunt. It's the one. There you go.
Cass, thank you very much.
Thank you.
That's it.
Been good.
David, thank you very much.
That's all right. It's a pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Well, brilliant. I think that's been a great conversation. I
Great.
hope you've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Gary, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Brilliant.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you.
Excellent. Marcel, thank you very much.
Oh, pleasure.
Well, thank you very much. That's all
Thank
my
you.
questions.
Nice.
If you stay seated. Brilliant. Okay, well, let's cut that there. Yeah, and what I'd like to do is get a few things like non-tick wides, and so if we can get some nice